Welcome back to the Generational Series. If you've been with us since episode 1, you already know we don't do boring history lessons here. We go inside the brain, and today's episode might be the most important one yet, because we're talking about money. Specifically, we're talking about why two people can have the exact same amount of money in the bank, but their brains got there in completely different ways. POV, you're 24 years old. You've got $1 million. You didn't inherit it. You didn't win the lottery. You built it from a laptop, probably in your childhood bedroom, with a Wi-Fi connection and 0 employees. Now picture another version of you. Same $1 million, except this version is 55 years old, owns 3 rental properties, has a pension, and worked the same company for 2 decades to get there. Same number, same bank balance, completely different brain. And if you don't understand why, you are going to misjudge every rich person you meet for the rest of your life. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why your brain, yes, yours, the one scrolling on this phone right now, makes money completely differently than your dad's generation. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with the foundation of everything, the psychology of instant access versus delayed gratification. Gen X grew up in a world where you had to wait. You wanted to hear a song? You waited for it on the radio, and if you missed it, tough luck, maybe next week. You wanted to see a movie? You waited for theaters, then waited again for the VHS rental. Waiting wasn't annoying to them. It was just life. It trained their brain that good things come slow, and that's fine, because that's all there was. Now flip it. Gen Z grew up with Amazon Prime. Same-day delivery, streaming everything instantly, and DMZ and stranger across the planet and getting a reply in 10 seconds. Your brain was trained on speed. Not because you're impatient by nature, because your environment literally rewired your expectations. So when it comes to money, Gen X brains are comfortable putting in 20 years for a payoff. Gen Z brains are scanning for the fastest possible loop between effort and result. That's not laziness. That's pattern recognition based on lived experience. Now let's talk ownership versus leverage, because this is where the millionaire brains really start splitting apart. The Gen X millionaire brain is built on ownership and control. Buy the building, own the franchise, have the title on the truck. Their idea of wealth is, I touch it, I own it, I control it. Think about your uncle who bought a duplex in the 90s and still talks about it at every Thanksgiving. That duplex is basically part of his identity now. The Gen Z millionaire brain doesn't care about touching the thing. It cares about distribution. Why own one storefront when you can have a TikTok shop reaching people in all 50 states? Why own a single restaurant when you can license a recipe and let 100 ghost kitchens cook it? Gen Z money brains ask one question constantly. How do I reach the most people with the least friction? Ownership is optional. Reach is everything. Now here's a hook for you. This next part explains why Gen X thinks Gen Z is reckless and why Gen Z thinks Gen X is way too scared. It's risk tolerance, but not the way people usually explain it. Gen X learned that risk means all-in bets. You take out the loan, you sign the lease, you mortgage the house, and you pray. There wasn't really a small test option back then. You basically had to commit fully before you knew if something worked. Gen Z runs the world like a science lab. Post the video, see if it gets traction. Didn't work? Pivot. Post a different version tomorrow. Spend $20 on ads. See the data. Scale only if it converts. It's not that Gen Z avoids risk. It's that Gen Z breaks risk into 100 tiny calculated experiments instead of one terrifying leap. Your dad bet the house. You bet $20 in a Tuesday afternoon. Let's talk identity, because this one gets personal. For Gen X, the salary became the identity. I'm a regional manager. I'm an electrician. The job title was the answer to who are you, at a dinner party, at a bar, anywhere. Lose the job, and a lot of Gen X men especially go through something close to a real identity crisis, because the job was the self-image. Gen Z built identity around the system, not the salary. I run a print-on-demand store. I have a newsletter with 10,000 subscribers. I do affiliate marketing on the side. The identity isn't tied to one employer, it's tied to the structure you built, which means if one stream dries up, your sense of self doesn't collapse with it. You just redirect. Quick gut check. Comment below if your parents still ask, but what's your real job, even though you're out here making more than they ever did? Let's talk learning, because this is one of the biggest brain rewires of the whole generation. Gen X trusted formal education almost like a religion. Get the degree, get the certificate, get the credential, and the credential opens the door. Education was a gate you had to pass through, controlled by institutions. Gen Z trusts YouTube tutorials, Reddit threads, and a 45-second video from somebody 3 years older than them who's already done the thing. Self-directed learning isn't a backup plan for Gen Z, it's the main plan. Why pay $40,000 and wait 4 years for a marketing degree when you can learn paid ads from a guy on YouTube in 3 weekends and start making money immediately? The Gen Z brain treats knowledge like an open buffet, not a locked vault. And speaking of currency, let's talk about attention, because Gen X has genuinely no framework for this one. For most of history, money is the only currency that mattered. Gen Z added a second currency to the equation: attention. If you have 100,000 people watching what you post, you don't need a bank loan, because brands will literally pay you to borrow your audience's attention. Attention became collateral. It became leverage. It became, in a very real sense, money, before it's even money. Gen X looks at a kid with 200,000 followers and zero real job and thinks that kid has nothing. Gen Z looks at the exact same kid and thinks that kid is sitting on a gold mine. They just haven't cashed it yet. Now let's talk trust, because this explains so much tension at family dinners. Gen X trusts institutions. The bank, the university, the corporation, the news network. These were the gatekeepers of truth and opportunity, and for the most part, that trust was earned because the system mostly worked for them. Gen Z trusts individuals. A single creator with a face and a name feels more credible than a faceless institution with a logo. That's why Gen Z would rather take financial advice from a 26-year-old on TikTok than a 50-year-old in a suit at a bank, even if, statistically, that's sometimes a terrible idea. The trust shifted from the brand to the person, and once you see that shift, half of modern marketing makes sense. All right, here's one that gets emotional fast: failure. For Gen X, especially anyone who lived through the 2008 crash or watched their parents go through the 80s recession, bankruptcy wasn't just a financial event, it was trauma. It meant shame, foreclosure signs on the lawn, whispered conversations, sometimes divorce. Failure was the end of the story. Gen Z treats failure like a checkpoint in a video game. Store didn't work? Pivot. Content style flopped? Pivot. Business idea failed? Post about it, get sympathy engagement, pivot again, sometimes even profit off the story of the failure itself. This is the pivot mentality, and it's honestly one of the healthiest psychological shifts of the whole generation, even if it drives traditional bankers absolutely insane. Now, networks. This one's underrated. Gen X built closed circles: the country club, the church group, the old college roommates, the guy from the gym who knows a guy. These networks were small, local, and built over decades of physical presence. Gen Z, they built open internet networks. See, your business partner could be in Manila. Your biggest customer could be in Berlin. Your mentor could be someone you've never met in person, but you DM them regularly. The network ain't closed anymore. It's the entire internet, and that completely changes how fast trust and opportunity can travel. Let's talk time horizon, because this is where the two brains feel like they're speaking different languages entirely. Gen X, they planned in 30-year arcs. 30 years at the company, then a pension, then retirement at 65. Long, slow, predictable. Gen Z, they think in 90-day cycles, quarter by quarter, launch, test, adjust, relaunch. It's not that Gen Z lacks patience for the long game, it's that the long game is now built out of dozens of short sprints stacked on top of each other instead of one continuous 30-year marathon. Now, status. Oh, this one's juicy. Gen X status symbol. The luxury car in the driveway, the watch, the house in the right zip code. Status was about owning visible, physical proof of success. Gen Z status symbol, social proof. Verified checkmark, follower count, comments calling you the GOAT. Status moved from look what I own to look how many people know who I am. Same human need for status, completely different scoreboard. Work psychology, hustle culture versus smart leverage. Gen X grit was about hours. Clock in early, clock out late, grind for decades, earn the gold watch at retirement. Hard work was measured in time spent. Gen Z flipped it to leverage. Build one piece of content, let it work for you for years. Build one digital product, sell it while you sleep. The goal isn't more hours, it's fewer hours producing more output through systems, automation, and audience leverage. Decision-making, analysis paralysis versus speed and data. Gen X often needed every variable locked down before moving. Business plan, loan approval, 5-year projection, then go. That caution made sense in a slower-moving economy. Gen Z moves on early signals. Post it. Check the data in real time. Adjust within hours, not years. Speed beats perfection because the algorithm and the market moves faster than any traditional business plan ever could. And finally, wealth psychology. Accumulation versus cash flow streams. Gen X measured wealth by net worth, house value, retirement account, total accumulated assets sitting quietly, growing slowly. Gen Z measures wealth by monthly cash flow. Multiple small income streams, content, products, affiliate deals, a side store, stacked together. Less about one big number sitting still, more about several streams constantly moving. So here's the truth, and I want you to really sit with this for a second. Both of these millionaire brains can absolutely end up in the exact same place: financial freedom, security, options, same destination. But the wiring that gets them there is almost opposite at nearly every single step. Gen X built wealth like building a house, slow, brick by brick, with blueprints and permits and decades of patience. Gen Z builds wealth like building a wildfire, fast, spreading, unpredictable, occasionally burning out, but capable of becoming enormous in a fraction of the time. Neither brain is wrong. They were built by two completely different worlds. And honestly, understanding this is the first step to either generation actually working together instead of judging each other across the dinner table. If this episode made you see your own family or your own bank account a little differently, that's exactly what this series is here for. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we've got 6 more episodes left in this Gen Z series, and trust me, episode 5 is going to hit even harder. Drop a comment and tell me which millionaire brain sounds more like you: Gen X ownership or Gen Z leverage. Like this video if you made it this far, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and I will see you in the next one.